We begin in South Africa, where authorities say at least 59 people have died in floods and mudslides after a rainstorm struck the port city of Durban and surrounding KwaZulu-Natal province. In a statement, the province's Department of Cooperative Governance warns that the number could increase. Days of pounding rain flooded several areas and shut dozens of roads across the southeastern city, while landslides caused train services across KwaZulu-Natal to be suspended. Video footage shared by private emergency and rescue workers and paramedics showed flooded city highways, submerged cars and collapsed houses. The Disaster Management Department in KwaZulu-Natal province, of which Durban is the largest city, has urged people to stay at home and ordered those residing in low-lying areas to move to higher ground. Well, joining me now is South Africa editor and journalist Dr Candice Bailey to give us more detail on this story. Good to see you, Candice. Quickly here, what is the current extent of the damage?
Hi, Suleiman. Quite a lot of devastation in the KwaZulu-Natal province, in addition to the 59 people that have died as a result of the heavy flooding and the mudslides and collapsed houses. We also have seen about 4,000 shacks that have been wiped away and 2,000 houses, RDP houses that have been washed away. Now, if we do an extrapolation of that, we're looking at close to 20,000 people that are potentially displaced by this heavy flooding. And that's quite a big problem for the province of KwaZulu-Natal at the moment. We've also seen one child missing. It's quite a lot happening there. We see rescue efforts that are underway, but the province obviously has a lot of work to do in terms of trying to understand how to deal with the problem. The rains have not stopped, and what we are seeing is that, as the weather service says, they did not expect this much rain. By this evening, they tallied at least 300 millimeters of rainfall in the last 24 hours, which is quite a lot of rainfall. So we are seeing quite a lot of damage, as you see on the pictures on your screen. Infrastructure has been gutted, bridges are down, highways are out. We saw these big containers floating on the N3 highway, which is quite a significant view to see. Even in some little towns, we saw rescue workers were stuck in shoulder high water. So quite a lot of devastation that we're seeing in the province this evening.
Well, no doubt those pictures are actually worrisome, but again, how have businesses been affected in the province?
Quite a lot of businesses have been affected. We obviously don't know the extent of it yet, and everything what we know as for now is provisional numbers. Essentially, we know that at least 34 banks or branches of the Standard Bank have been closed down. We know that Transnet has closed the Durban port due to flooding. So that's already the start of where the businesses have been affected. Now, remember, the flooding now comes on the back of the unrest that took place in KZN just 10 months ago. The province is really just only starting to recover from that, from the challenges around the unrest, and now they've got another lot of devastation. So businesses are quite hard hit, are going to be quite hard hit in the province over the next few weeks.
And what's the reaction to this by the provincial authorities?
So we did see provincial authorities on the ground from this morning. We saw the Premier, we saw the Mayor, we saw MECs going to areas that had been hard hit, going to see people who had lost their loved ones, trying to just sort of roll out relief programs. They have been on the ground. They have been trying to sort of understand the devastation and trying to tally, the losses, trying to tell you the loss of life, trying to tell you the loss of displacement. We do know that an emergency cabinet meeting was called this evening at 5 o'clock South Africa time, and they are now obviously discussing what the extent of the damage is. We saw the opposition leaders earlier today call for a state of disaster in the province, and that would obviously mean that the relief measures could then be rolled out in the province. That hasn't happened yet, but it's likely to happen. The EFF, for example, have also called on Eskom, our national energy provider, to cease load shedding in the province due to the devastation that's there. They're saying that there's a lot of damage. People are in a lot of, they're suffering enough. They don't need more suffering that's being caused by load shedding. So there has been a political response. What the rollout is going to be is yet to come.
And what's the expected course of action in the days to come?
I mean, I think the first step would be to find homes for those who have been displaced. If it's at least 20,000 people, and that's really only in Durban, we don't know the extent across the smaller towns in the province that run along the coast. So, to firstly have those people, the displaced people, housed in some way, and then to obviously roll out other relief measures. It will probably be to put a state of disaster in place in the province, and that then they would then be able to take the necessary actions.
And listening to you, it's apt to say caught unawares. That's the situation now. Do we have any idea when the rain will stop?
We don't have any idea when the rain will stop. As the South African Weather Service said, did not expect this much rain. So, we know that the rains will be continuing this evening, but hopefully we'll see some relief towards the end of the week. We're going into the Easter weekend as well. So it's quite a lot happening in South Africa. It's going to be quite a gloomy Easter weekend for many in South Africa, particularly in the KZN province.
Well, Candice Bailey, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thanks, Lemon.